What it do? It's your boy ESSAY Partner.
Yo, what's up, man? It's Ill Faded representing Mo City, Texas.
Hey, yo, what's up? I'm FM, the producer, and we live and direct at 97.9 The Box.
You now tuned into the Hustle Town Network. Let's get it.
Hey, what's up? It's your homegirl Jessica Jeanz, 97.9 The Box. You can catch me on the Late Night Hype on weeknights, so make sure you tune in. And in the building, we have actually a few guests joining us today. We have some of the best producers here from the city. We have ESSAY Partner in the building. Thank you for being here.
What up, what up?
We also have FM, the producer.
Hey, what up, what up, what up?
And then we also have Ill Faded in the building.
Hello.
Thank you guys for being here. So we're just gonna have a conversation. Let's talk about some production. But first, let's kind of go round table a little bit about some of the people maybe you've worked with, in case there are artists out here or people that don't know who you've worked with. We'll start with Ill Faded. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Start bragging. Tell us who you've worked with.
I don't know. The latest thing that I'm really proud of is Southside Still Holding.
Yeah.
Me and my boy ESG got a hot one. We just released the remix with every heavy hitter from Houston, and right now I feel like it's buzzing out here in Houston.
You hit 1 million views, no?
Yeah, we just hit 2 million actually. So
Ooh,
on the remix and on the
yeah.
original, yeah, appreciate it. So it was a big accomplishment for me and for ESG and for Houston. So I'm really juiced about that. Been working with Dice Soho, just came back from LA, was working on his next project out there, and just a lot of other artists.
Yeah, too many to name. You've been in the business over 10 years.
Yeah, a long time, too long.
Yeah, so I just want to add a little bit to that. So you've worked with ESG, you've worked with the likes of Scarface and Devin the Dude from back in the day, and even Ice Cube. You did some production work with him, right?
No, actually I recorded Scarface on a remix that he did. Gangsta Rap made me do it. Remix that he did with Nas.
Okay, I mean that's
just an engineering credit, you know.
Yeah, but that is dope.
Shouts out to Face.
But that right there goes to show that not only do you're a producer, engineer, but also just kind of work in different elements in the game.
Yeah, like FM said earlier, you almost have to be a jack of all trades nowadays. It's kind of being a producer and an engineer kind of goes hand in hand. The same thing with being a DJ and being a producer kind of go hand in hand, and everything's just kind of mashing together. So you kind of have to just be able to do a lot more than just one thing nowadays.
Yeah, that's right. And so, all right, so that leads me to FM, the producer.
Hello, yeah.
All right, a lot of people know and have worked with you here in the city. You're originally from Houston, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right, so you've been doing music over 10 years.
Over 10 years. So I don't work with pretty much everybody and anybody from the city. And recently you had Young Easy here, so I do a lot of work for him, and he's on the rage to come up. I work with Doughman. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah. He's one of our favorites here at Hustle Town Network. Yeah,
I do pretty much. Sick. I do a lot of his engineering and production work too, and I know you heard of Trill Sammy and Dice Soho. I've worked with them. I recently, somebody co-mixed a song with me. I don't know who did it, but I mixed the Time It Is, the recent one that he just dropped. So somebody engineered it with me, but I don't know who did it, but I've worked on that. I also worked on their first major song, the Just Watch, that probably got over 10 million views right now.
Wow.
I mean, I've done a lot of work from, to Slim Thug, Kirk, to all the legends in Houston, to Lil Kiki, Bun B, the list goes on.
Yeah. So, and then you've also worked on some soundtracks.
Yeah. I've worked on the soundtracks of Chingo's Netflix show. I also did a song on the Philly Brown. Me, Chingo, and this other dude worked on that song. Well, I think it was probably 2 other people that worked on that song, but yeah, it's dope.
Motion picture. There you go. Yeah.
You got to get the movie money.
movie money. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So, and then we also have ESSAY Potna in the building. Thank you for being here. Now, you came from College Station. That's where you're staying at right now, right?
I did. That's where I'm from. Well, I was born in Florida, but that's where I've been most of my life, is in College Station. So shout out to the Aggies. They're playing right now.
Oh, and hold on. Let me just cut you off. The dude was Dirty J that worked on the song with me and Chingo that got on the Philly Brown soundtrack, just to put that out there.
All right. Salute to that guy. And all right, so ESSAY Potna, you've worked with a lot of people. You kind of started in the game with with Little Flip.
Yeah. I was signed to Clover G's, and that's when I started coming to Houston a lot. So Houston's been like my second home. One of my boys that does a lot of my videos and artwork and stuff, he lives here, so I'm here all the time. But it's like a second home to me.
All right. So so definitely around the table, we've got a lot of talent. Most of you guys, like you said, you guys are a jack of all trades. Not only do you guys produce, you guys are engineers, and a lot of you guys, you write and are artists yourselves, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know you just had a song out, kind of in the more of the rock realm.
Yeah. I don't even know what to label it, man. I guess I mean I've heard the best example would be alternative R&B. Somebody called it that. And so, I mean,
it kind of reminded me. It had like a stained feel, along with like just kind of like that.
Actually, when I first made it, I produced it, and then I like had a vision for it, and it was for Stain, the dude that his name is Aaron Lewis. Yeah, but I was trying to get it to him, but then I found out he don't even do alternative music anymore.
Gotcha.
So everybody that I let listen to it were like, man, you got to put that out. Like that's it.
So you were like, I'm just gonna jump on it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna put it out then. Like I didn't even care like what genre it fit or nothing. I just put it out, and like it's been getting real good, response. So,
That's great.
But yeah, if y'all want to check that out, it's on YouTube. ESSAY POTNA, Maybe I'll Stay. That's the name of the video.
All right. So lots of talent in the building and lots of knowledge over the years that you guys have gained working with so many different artists, from the humblest to, I'm sure, the most diva-ist of artists that you guys worked with on all levels, all genres, or, pretty much all different styles. So I really wanted to bring you guys in to give an insight on the music scene. So, we'll kind of go round table first, and I'll give your opinions on how you feel maybe the game or the music is changing for the better for artists. So we can start with Ill Fated, if you want to give us your opinion on how it's changed for the artists.
I think that the biggest change that's happened is probably the fact that people can just like be popping on social media. Like you don't even have to do anything anymore. You just have to be like have a cool lifestyle, and then people beat into it. Then they get like a couple million followers, and they turn around and do an album. That's the time and age that we live in now. So
that's like the Queen Naija right now, that she was popping on YouTube.
Or what's that girl's name? Bad Barbie or Bad Baby?
Yeah.
Catch Me Outside.
Yeah, got a full-blown career going on right now.
And the stuff kind of knocks. I'm not even hating on her.
So social media, technology, all these different apps, it's like a whole different age. Like, nowadays it's like I just get on Instagram, find out what's popping, and I'll reach out. Yo, what's up? I'm Ill Fated from Houston. Woo, producer, let's work. And then boom, 9 times out of 10 they're hitting me back. And just like that, what 10 years ago would have been impossible to do, you can instantly reach the biggest artist in the world. All they gotta do is catch them on a good day. And when they actually go through all like the 1,000 DMs or whatever, and then they're like, yo, boom, I'm gonna, whatever. It's just kind of the luck of the draw, but it's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot has changed. A lot has changed, We are the labels now.
Yeah, and so what about you, FM? How do you think that it's changed for the music? Just kind of elaborate.
Yeah. I just feel like nowadays it's more easier to get a song out there to the world versus, back in the day you had to go through 10 steps through a label. Nowadays you just go in the studio, make a good song and put it out, put it on SoundCloud and, just pray that you get a lot of views. And also, I just feel like everything's just so accessible as far as beats. I mean, everything's accessible. I mean, a lot of people go to YouTube, put something type beat, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll get beats from that. And then they'll just get somebody to remake it. And then, I mean, everything's so easy nowadays. So you can make 20 songs and real quick versus back then you needed a lot of money and a lot of everything.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, ESSAY POTNA. Do you feel like it's gotten more expensive or less expensive because it's more accessible to work with producers?
Way less expensive. Like, to touch on what they were saying, what he was saying about being able to get in touch with people.
Yeah.
There was a situation where I caught Shannon Sharp on a good day. Shannon Sharp is the Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. He has the Undisputed show. So I made this little remix using his voice. It's like a LeBron James song. And he ended up hearing it, and he DM'd me and was like, hey, I want to use it on the show. And so he ended up trying to use it on the show, and then he ended up posting it. And so that was cool because I got, like he said, I'm sitting here talking to a Hall of Famer that I would have never gotten the chance to talk to otherwise, because I can't just
call him up or how
call him up and talk to him. So I'm just sitting here messaging Shannon Sharp, 3-time Super Bowl winner, and he actually liked what happened. So I think it's a lot easier now just because of communication.
Right.
Like it's so easy to communicate now.
It is.
So,
it is.
Everything is cheaper now. You can buy cameras for a lot cheaper, shoot your own videos, studios.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, really just everything. Like, I mean, to have a professional studio, I mean, you really don't need that much money anymore. Back in the day, you know, it was a $100,000 board. Now you don't need that. It's software now.
It's software.
I mean, you can have it, but it's not
now
necessary
they have
anymore.
subscriptions too, so you don't need a lot of money.
Yeah.
You could buy Pro Tools for like $20, $30 a month and you good.
And I would say YouTube tutorials, man.
Okay.
Man,
Yeah, I would say YouTube is a major key for anything that you want to do, whether you want to do video work or engineering work, producing work. YouTube is key.
really for anything, really.
Yeah, for anything.
I mean, but yeah.
I did my makeup today with a makeup tutorial. So, you know that.
Yeah.
Check it out.
I bought a camera and I didn't know nothing about it. You know,
Google and YouTube.
Nothing. And I searched, I just searched one video, how to use this camera. And it had a whole video on my camera of like the best settings to get the cinema look for shooting videos. I mean, I was just like that. I already had everything set up the way I wanted it.
Just from getting that information, going out there and going getting it.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a point about there are still a lot of artists that I'll get submissions for music and it's not mastered. It's the quality's bad. I'm not saying the song is trash because I'll listen. I'm like, man, that's a nice little hook, but the quality is way off. Where do you think is the miss? Why aren't, because of all of this is available, and you can Google everything and your software's available. Where is the miss? Where do you find?
I would say you can have a good recipe. Like, let's say if your grandmother hands you down like some family recipe that's like really, really good. Well, if you can't execute it properly,
like a template.
yeah, you got like, okay, let me see how to make this.
A Pro Tools,
and if you can't execute it properly, sometimes you just got to have the ear for it. Some people just don't have the ear for it, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta be one of those people that are self-aware that notices, like, if everybody's telling you, hey man, I don't know. Or if nobody's feeling it, chances are, I'm not saying just give up on your dreams, but maybe you need to move to a different field. Right, or
hire a professional.
Yeah.
Yo, we live in an age where like there's a genre called lo-fi. Like, you know what I mean? There's certain people, it's all preference of sound and like to that engineer's discretion. If that engineer feels like this whack, dark, muddy mix sounds great to him, well then, or her, then that's
his artistic style
thing, even bands like Led Zeppelin, they didn't have the best mixed songs in the world, and it was okay, people accepted it, it was their sound, you know what I mean? So it's really about preference too. But if you're trying to compare your mixes to some Hollywood mixes, then you're gonna have to do some referencing and go, take a song that you want your song to sound like and go back and forth until you're like, oh, my kick's not as loud as that one. Let me turn it up. All right, now my snare's not as loud. Okay, now my song's not as bright. Okay, now my song isn't as loud. And then you attack the problem like that.
Right. You see, and that's exactly what an engineer will do for you. A professional producer will do for you, because you can have like your song put out together, but when you hire a professional, you're able to have that extra. Let me arrange this. Let me move this. Let me do this. And so I think that I wanted to bring you guys in to give that insight on what you felt about the business, and of course the artists. And we're not here to bash anybody as far as okay, their sound's not great in quality, but I just want to put that out there because it's a real fact. But
yeah, if you want to be in the industry, you have to know things like that. Like if somebody came to you and they wanted to be a radio host, well, then there's certain things that that because you've been through it,
right?
You've already seen certain stuff that they haven't seen yet.
Right.
So if you give them the tips like, hey, don't do this. That's not you like hating on them or downing them. That's you just saying this is what's going to happen. When you go through this, I've already been through it.
Right. And what, the network that we have, Hustletown Network, I just want to empower people. I want to make sure that everybody has got when they shoot their shot, that, it's ready to go. Yeah. I feel like a lot of artists are missing their shot, missing their opportunity because of either quality or just don't know the business in general. And I know you guys deal more in studio, and so we'll talk about maybe some of the things that I want to talk about, do's and don'ts, how to approach a producer, what are the things you say, you don't say, and so you've had I know that producers have pet peeves about certain things. I know for me, I work in a studio at radio, and I know better. I don't bring drinks to any studio. If I bring anything, it's for my engineer or my producer, just out of love. Hey, here's something for you. But do you have any rules about when people come into your studio?
I would say just be yourself. Don't be just be yourself, really. I'm not really too picky, but I am picky on who I work with, because I just don't work with anybody. I just gotta feel like a good vibe with you. You know what I mean? And also another thing, or one thing that I would say that I'm picky about is like telling me what to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of just like to do my own thing. Like, whenever we get in there, I like to do my own thing, and then at the end, once it's done, then you could tell me, I like this, I hate that, put this, add this, but not while I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Over then, your shoulder and trying to.
It kills my process of thinking, my creativity. I'm like, oh man, I forgot now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just, let me do me, and at the end, you could criticize it.
Right. How about you, Afflicted?
Just no annoying people. Anybody that's annoying is getting kicked out.
ASAP.
If you're not adding to the vibe in like a creative, like productive, positive way, you're getting kicked out.
Nice.
And because like I'm not even a mean person, but the reason I'm like that with my music is because I take it seriously, and I know that the main ingredient to good music is good vibes. And when you take that away from the equation, now I feel like FM feels like when someone's over his shoulder, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Now I feel like I'm just
let
forced
you
to
do you. Yeah, just do you.
So, good vibes. If you ain't got them, don't go to the studio.
Me and him were talking about this earlier before we came here, but just being positive. Like, I had to learn certain things about not jumping the gun, and like, we were talking about a certain situation, where there was somebody that just ended up dissing somebody or whatever, but like my situation with I just had recently a situation with Future, right? So I produced this track, and it was originally my track with him on it.
Okay.
Well,
so he was the feature?
He was the feature.
Okay.
Yeah. And so out of nowhere, I get a text message from one of my homies, and he's like, "Hey, read this. They just dropped this." And so I went to the article, whatever, and it said that his people had dropped the song without me on it. And it was just him. But I produced the song, just still have my tag in it. And so at first I was kind of upset about it, like, why didn't they just talk to me and say, hey, can we just, we're going to do this or whatever, which I would have been cool with it. And at first I, like I said, I was being negative about it. But then I just had to think about it, and I talked to a few people, and they were like, man, that's a positive thing. And I'm like, you're right. So I decided to spin it, whatever you could spin in a positive light in your career, do that instead of just being negative, bringing negative energy.
Great advice.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to jump the gun and do more stupid things on top of a stupid situation. It's like you can turn a negative situation into the positive if you know how to work this. I don't know if you know how to work it. I mean, I can't get into detail because obviously every situation is gonna be different, but that's some great advice right there.
Right.
Well, there was no situation.
Don't go try to beat up somebody because they don't want to do business with you.
Yeah. Or send a message that will go. Yeah, because people screenshot these days. So
yeah.
You don't.
Well, there was a situation where I went on tour with T-Pain, and he was supposed to do this feature for me, and the whole entire time that we were on tour with him, he was supposed to do it. Like, so every night his management would tell us, we're gonna do it tonight. We're gonna do it tonight. And we just kept waiting. Now, we were just getting mad, because after every show, we'd see him, shout out to T-Pain, but anyway,
parlaying and doing all, you're like, wait.
I see him in the hallway, and he's, what's up, man? But I'm just thinking in my head the whole time, okay, when are we gonna get this done? And a year went by, literally a whole year. And we were sitting there waiting on the song. Well, he finally sends it a year later, and it's not even like what we initially wanted and stuff. But I think back, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't jump the gun on that and just,
and broke a bridge,
and just get mad at him and blast him and all this stuff. Like, that's what I originally wanted to do, but I mean, he's a busy dude, so
right. And it's easy to get caught up in emotions, and especially as artists, I know that they're very emotional because we're serious about our shit.
Yeah.
So it's great to have professionals and work with guys like you too, because I mean, I've been in a couple of studios and I see that, I mean, the vibe, like you said, that positivity or just knowing your stuff, just kind of, I know when I recorded, I knew that my music was in good hands. just by making sure that I had the right producer.
Yeah, you gotta trust who you work with for sure.
Right. So, you said that you were picky on who you work with. So, I mean, everybody's got their preferences. And what are some of those things, just so people can keep that on top of mind? Hey, let me make sure I got all of my ducks in a row before I hit up a producer.
One thing that I would say is, let's just say if somebody randomly hits me up and they're like, hey, I want to work with you. I'm like, cool. And then I go to your page and, I see you talking about killing somebody. You got guns, you selling drugs. I'm like, man, I don't want to be caught up, because you might just get caught up at the wrong time, bad time. You might
get caught up at the studio.
Yeah, they're going to pull up and then, somebody going to pull up and bust everybody. So it's like,
Pac was shot at a studio. So,
So I just don't like no negativity. Like, I don't mind if you do drugs or bring guns, but, if you promote it as in you're like this real gangster and you killed 20 people, like, nah. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I don't want none of that. Yeah,
you got that street cred, but not in the studio.
If you go down, they're going to go through everybody who he had in contact with, you know what I mean? So I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I had mentioned before that, for me, I feel like producers are, they're unsung heroes. I mean, most people that don't listen to lyrics, I know they're out there. They don't listen to lyrics. They're actually, they fall in love with the song because of the beat. Yes. And so, how long does it normally take you to make a beat, Ill-Fated? Have you gotten so good that you can just kind of whip one up? Or
I can whip up ideas like in 30 minutes. I have a pretty solid beat, but that's not where the beat ends.
Okay.
The process of the beat continues after that.
So if I told you that somebody recorded a song and finished it in one day, what would your opinion be about that?
I'd be like, you let me hear it. And I'm gonna give you my critique. Yeah. And I was gonna say this earlier. People forgot how to give constructive criticism. Everybody wants to tell you, do it like this, do it like that. Now you should do it like this. You know what you need to do? But they're quick to tell you what you need to do, but they're not
prepared to give you.
No, they're not positively reinforcing the good things that you're doing. Like, yo, I really like this, I really like that, but yo, you need to maybe do this other thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a certain way of how you talk to people and how your criticism is given. So I don't even remember why I was
but that's why I wanted to have you guys on, because I wanted to have a round table on just kind of random stuff, kind of just your insight in general, and wherever the conversation leads us. But yeah,
one more piece of advice I would give up and coming producers is figure out what you want to do, because there is a couple of different lanes as far as production goes nowadays you can just be an internet producer, meaning like there's certain people like Happy Perez. He shout out to Happy. He most of what he does now is just straight placements. Well, he just goes for placements. Label. Yeah, he does label work. And see, and I started to go that direction at one point, and then I called him and I was like, hey, what is this, man? Like, and he was like, bro, welcome to the world of this, because that's what you're gonna have to deal with. It's very, very tough. Like, you can submit 300 beats to Atlantic, and then they're like, nah, I don't want none of those. And then they'll just randomly pick out one and go, okay, I want that one. So there's that one, and then there's just producing online, which there's a lot of people that make a killing doing that. Okay. Like, there's a lot of like
SoundClick and YouTube.
Yeah, where you just put your beats up. Your previews, let everybody preview and pick them out, and some people got them where you can just literally just buy them right there on the spot or lease them or whatever. And so there's two different avenues, or you can do both. But I think it's just important to figure out what you want to do, because if you're shooting for one and you're only getting the results of this one, you're going to be let down and stuff.
That's important, and it's important just as artists too, because there are many ways to be successful in the music industry without being the front man. Yes. You can always be the writer, the producer, the engineer, and get those credits and get yourself paid. So I
feel like there's more money in that, really, like when you're behind the scenes.
Yeah,
I feel like the behind the scenes person gets the most money.
So when you have artists, rappers who are becoming producers, and so they're not only will get they'll get the writing credit, but they also get the production credit and the engineer credit and stuff like that.
I would compare artists to like an athlete. Like, for every athlete, there's 10 people that work behind them. That you got your trainer, you got your nutritionist, there's a lot of other things. Yeah, there's a lot of other things around an athlete that make an athlete an athlete.
Right.
That they have to have. And same thing with an artist. Like, I tried to explain that to people in my city where, everybody's concept for making was like, man, we need to all come together. I'm like, okay, so you got a room full of rappers. Now what are we going to do? Just make mixtapes? And that's it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you were to start a NFL, like your own NFL type league or something. Well, if you just got a bunch of football players together standing on a field, okay, you need somebody to sell tickets. You need somebody to work the concession stands. You need somebody to promote it. You need referees. You need all that stuff. It's not just football players. The same way it's not just an artist. So I read this online earlier. I think I might text might have posted it, but it's the thing that says if your homeboy does music, figure out a way to fit into what he does. Figure out a way to help him. So I mean that's true.
Yeah, and back to the constructive criticism, they're often, I'll see posts, I'll post sometimes and, don't do this. And there's always these don't do's and don't do's. But I wanted to be able to offer the solutions on what to do to be able to say, you know what, make sure that, get your ducks in a row. Make sure you're ready and prepared. Like you mentioned earlier, know where you want to go with your career. If you want to be the front man, then start doing the things to make yourself the front man. If you say, hey, I want to live comfortably, I love to make music, but I want to be behind the scenes. I'm not that superstar person, but I love making music. Then start planning your career as such. But I wanted to offer that I guess availability or what it takes to be able to do music with producers such as yourself. So I mean, I know you mentioned, make sure you're out of trouble. Anything else that artists need to have popping?
Don't be big-headed. Don't act like you the main thing, the next hottest thing.
Be humble.
Stay humble. Yeah, that's the main thing, because I mean, being humble can get you a lot of places, into a lot of doors, and working with anybody. Yeah,
don't miss out on opportunities because you too egotistic.
You know it all. Mm-hmm. Have you guys ever had a problem with an artist who didn't want to pay you for any type of services?
Yeah.
No, I always get paid.
That happens a lot too.
Yeah, it happens more often than none.
But it just depends who you work with too, though.
But that's why you got to be picky.
If they have, but also if they have the credibility and they have like the stardom, you're not gonna probably charge them at first, because you're gonna get the back end money, or not only the back end money. You could say that you work with so and so and get business from that.
Okay.
Do what makes sense to you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because
there's no right or wrong.
Like FM saying is like, there might be a big, really, really big artist that comes around, and instead of you throwing a price out there and maybe possibly damaging what could be
the relationship.
A relationship for a long time, it's like you scaring him off or her off top, the artist. Because it's like, who is this little producer?
Right.
Chunking this big figure at me. Like, who does he think he is? Call up Quincy. Call up Dre. Around where's he at?
You got to build a resume. I mean, if you're going to... shout out to Rob Camps. I forgot to mention him earlier when he helped me with the Future track that we did. But you got to build a resume in order to, if you want to charge people, you got to be able to say, this is what I've done for so-and-so. It's got to be a brand. Mm-hmm. You got to have a brand. And like he said, be prepared. If you're just now starting, be prepared to give away a lot of free beats. I've done that. Anybody that can help build your resume, you're going to give away for free.
Right.
You're not going to go to, I'm not going to send an invoice to Future and be like, hey, I need that money, bro. You just send me 20 grand for that. So because it helps me. It helps me to be on here and say, okay, that new Future song dropped, I produced that. Right. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not finna send them a bill in the mail and tell them I need my money. But
I mean, at the end of the day, you could get your money.
Yeah, no. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see where it goes.
Legally, you're probably on the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's. Once back to what I was saying, is like it's really on the situation. Every situation is gonna be different, and how do you want to play it? Don't let any artist, listen up. Don't let anybody dictate what your worth is. You dictate that. That's facts. You tell them what you want for that beat or that verse or that show or whatever. Don't let them tell you.
Yeah, know your worth and stick to it.
Vice versa too, though. When you sell a beat, you name your price.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right. Are there any producers, of course, that you guys, were influenced by? Who were some of those that influenced you? FM.
I would say really what influenced me, it wasn't even a producer, it was a Switcher House. That's also SPM2. Them two made me like music. Like, not made me like music, but made me want to get more in depth into the music. So I would say shout out to South Park Mexican and Switcher House and DJ Michael Watts and anybody who was working with them, like Commissioner Power. They all had a big influence of me wanting to do music. That's what made me want to get into music.
And do you think that because it was local here in your city, that it was reachable?
Yeah, it felt like the dream can happen, you know what I mean? So, because they were local, they didn't have when they were starting, they didn't have no big label, no nothing. They recorded on probably a karaoke machine and just put it out, you know what I mean? And just sold it for $10, $15 and people bought it. And then people would bootleg it and sell it for $5 at the flea market. So
where I'm from, we used to have a little shop, and they had the white CDs with the Sharpie on them. And Switcher House, 2K, whatever.
Yep, that's exactly how I had mine.
And they'd be all stacked up on the little shelves, and we're digging through them, looking at them. $5 a pop. Hell, bro.
Ill Fated, were you influenced by producers?
Yeah, most definitely. What? But I mean, it wasn't even a producer like FM. It was actually my homeboy who rapped in high school that got me into like rap and got me producing and engineering and stuff.
What was the first program you ever worked with?
I want to say it was Acid.
What?
Everybody started with Acid.
Yeah, good old Acid. I don't even remember what.
I still use Acid. Yeah. I slave it through Pro Tools and I use Acid.
We made the beat in Acid and recorded it in Acid. Yeah.
Wow.
I've never made a beat in one, but I've recorded. Like I said, I still record.
Man, if you think about it, Acid Pro could have been the main program if they really got their stuff together.
Yeah.
Like, because Acid could have been the top program.
Shots fired.
No, on the real, it could have been like Pro Tools. Like, it could have been the main.
Been the next level,
Like, FL Studio is pretty much what most of the up-and-coming people use.
So Acid is like the MySpace of Facebook?
Yeah,
like it could have been, but
it could have been. Yeah. So never mind, I don't use it.
Going back there
like
to get
saying I'm still on MySpace. I just got used to it. I got used to it, and I mastered.
Acid or
Acid. Well, because I record myself, and so there's less steps to recording in Acid versus Pro Tools. Pro Tools, you gotta add a track in, you gotta pick which one you want to do.
I'm about to convert him to Ableton.
I've actually used it before, but I'm not too familiar with it.
Shit, bro.
Is it?
I'm gonna sit you down. You're gonna make one beat. I'm gonna show you how to do everything, and that's it.
Wow. I mean, we need to kind of have a collab of all you guys produce something and bring some artists in and just kind of do like a whole.
That'd be dope. Yeah, we do like a sit down and just create something and whatever happens. Man,
that would be sick.
I've actually never done that. I've actually never. The only other person I've collabed with was my boy Rob Camps. But as far as like making a beat, but I've never done it live with him. It's always been like he would send me melodies, and I'll build bass around it.
Another thing, collab with people. That's how you really grow. That's how you find new styles and new techniques and new ways of attacking a situation that you would have never thought before. Just sitting in the studio with somebody else that is like-minded like you. You know what I mean? And then you just start picking up on things like, wow, I never thought about doing it like that.
Right.
Crazy.
And what a
thing, let me just say this, people nowadays, they use melodies. I mean, everybody uses melodies, and some people call them samples. So if you want to collab with somebody, like let's say you want to collab with a bigger name than yourself, I mean, you could create like 30 melodies and you send it to them, and they might use it.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly how writing is too for the writers. They may come up with a bridge, and the bridge will get used.
That's good for inspiration, because sometimes I go in the studio and I'll just sit down and I'm like, man, I don't know. I have nothing in my brain to work with, like no melodies, no nothing. So I'll get my boy to send me, like I'll tell him, hey, shoot me some melodies. And he'll shoot me, he's good at playing piano and stuff, so he'll send me some melodies and I'll just build around it or whatever. But Yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, and also I want to talk about the producer and artist relationship. I know Ill Fated, we had that boy T up in here, and he talked about doing a whole project with one artist. Do you do that often?
Not often, but if I really rock with you, I'll do it.
Okay.
I have to really rock with you.
Yeah.
Or you gotta bring that big bang.
Yeah, gotta be one of the other.
Bang.
Yeah.
Nah, but all jokes aside, yeah, I'll do it if I'm really behind an artist, yeah.
All right. What about you with him?
Gotta believe
The same way, the same thing. Like really, the project that boy T had with Happy Perez, I was pretty much part of the whole thing. From the beginning, I'm the one who pretty much mixed the whole project on that one. So that was kind of dope. We all just sat in the studio. Happy was just doing his thing, and I was just, watching, learning, and and of course mixing. So, I mean, I would do that. The same thing, either I really gotta mess with you or you gonna bring that bag, cause somebody gotta pay bills.
If they really rock with you, they'll pay.
Yeah.
Because they understand that by them paying, they're supporting. By supporting, the lights are on. That keeps the lights on. That keeps the AC on. That keeps the studio available and my schedule more open.
And it keeps your creativity open too.
Yeah.
Like you ain't gotta worry about nothing.
If I'm over here stressing about how I'm gonna pay my bills, you think I give a crap about your project? No
way. Yeah.
No.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gotta be, for me, it's gotta be somebody I really rock with, because I mean, it would be like torture doing a 17-track album with somebody that I really don't rock with.
Right.
I mean, one or
That's
two.
a lot of songs.
You feel me? Like, and it'll be the worst people to work with. They want, I want to do a 27-track album.
I want all these songs on it.
And then you just ruining your whole state of mind where you're just like, man, I'm depressed working with this dude. So I agree. It's either got to be a lot of money or somebody I really rock with.
All right.
But I've never done one myself either. I've never done
a whole project with one artist.
No, I've had people hit me up about it. That's another thing.
Now that's a deep relationship though, when you can do that with somebody, and I think that's just so great when you hear, like when Quincy Jones did Mike, and and then the whole project is surrounded with one. Not to say that having different producers isn't great either, but when you kind of have that one sound, like Metro Boomin, just popping all over everything, and it kind of has that sound. I always try to shout out producers when I can on radio, just because we have the artist name, we have the name of the song, but we never really get into who produced it.
Well,
and I'm that person. I'll go Google, like, who is that? Who did
having
that?
a tag is important. Having something that people can recognize is very, very important.
Yes.
Because
not throughout the song, like you didn't pay for your beat, but in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere in there. No, but like Metro Boomin, the reason why he's produced so much stuff is because you hear his tag in all these songs.
Yep.
Otherwise, we wouldn't know who it was.
Right.
So that's an important thing. Find you and some people got some annoying tags. Find you a good one. Find you something that like stands out or something. Not screaming over the whole beginning of the beat or anything. But
right. Well, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about DJ Khaled right quick. Producer. He's just doing hits after hits, making bank. With a lot of artists, and so I've kind of looked in. Like, does he write this? Is it the artists that come in and write this stuff? Like, how does he make these collaborations happen and work? And he's getting paid now. Is that something that you guys have ever thought about doing? And if so, which artist would you have on a song together to do like a DJ Khaled type track?
Wow.
That's a good one.
What market are we trying to appeal?
Well, I guess I would say whatever you want to feel. I guess what I am going to do, and I've been thinking about it, is I'm going to get probably about 6 people on the song. Well, probably maybe 10. But it's not going to be all artists. Like, I'm probably going to get about maybe 1 singer and 3 artists, and then I'm gonna probably get a piano player, like just something like that. So probably a couple of people do some background vocals, but I do want to work on a project like that, and put about
any people you have in
10
mind?
People. I would say the first one I would probably say is I want to get Fast Lane on one with Dice Soho, with Doman, with and there's 2 other people that I just can't think right now.
Yeah.
And then as far as singers, I do want to have some, like a female vocalist somewhere in the song, maybe just an intro, outro, something. So yeah, I am gonna work on something like that. So.
Okay, that's what's up. So be on the lookout for that. How about you?
I've done one like that with DJ Ill Will, which is Kid Ink is his manager.
Okay.
And so he basically hit me up with the idea and told me he wanted to do a song, like I guess similar to the DJ Khaled style. So he's not a producer or anything, but he wanted it to be his song featuring. It ended up being me, Kid Ink, Mr. Fab, and Short Dog. And so that's the only one that I've ever done like that. But I mean, off top, the artist that I've always wanted to work with, R.I.P., is Dino from H-Town. He's like one of my favorite voices. So that's the only person I've ever thought about.
Nobody else like it.
Every time I've ever gotten that question, like, who would you like to work with? Like, that's the one person that I wanted to work with that obviously I can't. So.
Yeah. Pretty good. How about you, iLL Faded?
I would say a track with Kanye, Drake, and this new artist I've been on, El Alfa from Puerto Rico.
El
Alfa.
And he does hip hop, or what kind of music does he do?
He does like it's like djembe, Brazilian djembe mixed with reggaeton, mixed with trap, rap. It's crazy.
Yeah, Toby to that.
Huh?
Oh, yes.
Toby.
Add Toby to that song, and it'll just make
crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great talent in the city, and I've been doing Hustletown Network here for about a year and a half. I'm originally from San Antonio. I got into the radio business by being an audio engineer. I dabbled in it a little bit. It's a lot harder than it looks, so I give you guys mad props for that. My career landed me in radio just because soundboard and stuff like that. So, but I always still kind of have that ear. I had training and stuff like that. So I mean, I pay attention to what you guys are putting out there, and a lot of the songs that a lot of these artists that we interview and have had on are all produced by you guys, and stuff I've heard on the radio, stuff I grew up listening to, mixtapes I've heard listening. I've always heard your guys' work, and you're not always in the front and not always recognized. So I did want to have a chance to recognize you guys and get to know who you are, your work, your insight on the music industry, and your advice to artists. And I think that you guys did a really good job of doing that today, and you gave us some really, really good gold of some knowledge for all of these artists out here and up and coming producers that want to get started. So there's again a lot of talent here in the city, but I think as a unit, this whole network of Latinos, we're just kind of all out here, want to be heard. We are heard, but a lot of times we're not recognized that it's us.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys are here, and I wanted to bridge the gap between producers and artists, and not it to be something where it's like, well, how do I reach out? What do I need to do? What kind of money do I gotta have for this? But again, you guys did a really good job of explaining everything, because it's all really kind of determines on how you carry yourself, how you conduct business, and the relationships that you built while you're in the music game. So it's easy to get emotional and let emotions kind of ruin relationships. That can happen, but when you focus and you know what you want to do with your career, it just kind of flows when you're able to make those deep connections and relationships. So I just want to thank you guys again. ESSAY Partner for being in the building, FM the producer, and iLL Faded. So
before we go, I just want to say I've told y'all this before, but I love everything y'all are doing with y'all's network and everything. I haven't seen this happen. I don't know. Wow. I can't think of anything, off the top of my head. I can't think of anybody else that's done this. So I appreciate it. I love what y'all are doing. Like I'm watching. I see all of it. I love it, and I appreciate y'all giving us opportunities like this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean we're trial and error. We're trying to figure things out too. Trying to make the best. I just want to make sure that we elevate the entire local scene. Just everybody, just level up. That's just level up. So before we get out of here, I do want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you guys, and anything else that you kind of want to add. iLL Faded.
You can find me on Instagram at iLL Faded.
You can find me same thing on Instagram at FM Producer.
You can find me on. Oh my bad.
Oh no, go ahead.
You can find me. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can find me on Instagram at ESSAY POTNA, POTNA.
Partner.
A lot of people don't like saying that. It makes people feel uncomfortable.
Partner.
Yeah, because they say partner.
Partner.
Yeah, no, so I understand. I get it.
And how do we know it's the right you? Because the first time I met you on social media, I actually had another person who went by ESSAY Partner, and he was kind of acting like he was you.
Oh wow, man!
And then somebody else tagged you, and they said, "No, this is the real ESSAY Partner." I was like, "Wow."
I don't know, man. I've been trying to. So if y'all know of anybody to get me verified, I've been trying to
get verified
next to us. He's verified.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
How did you get verified?
Let me call Instagram real quick.
Yeah, call them up, man. Tell them
I'm about to say T-Mobile. Let me call T-Mobile and Instagram.
And Instagram.
On my Twitter is EP979, and then Facebook, just search my name and you'll find me. Well, never mind. You said you search my name. And
Yes.
I don't know.
ESSAY Partner with the braids.
ESSAY Partner with the just look.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Just look for the picture.
Braids.
All right, guys. Well, again, I appreciate you guys being here. Much more luck with everything going on in your careers, and so level up.
Oh yeah, and we do got to do what you're talking about, like just bring everybody in a room and create something. So let's make that happen.
Make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's do that. I'm down.
All right, thanks guys for being here.
Thank you.
All right,
thank you.
Yo, what up? It's the infamous Tex. And if you're down with the underground, be sure to support the movement by liking the Hustle Town Network on Facebook and following us on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Hustle Town Net. That's right, Latino stand up.